So here's a story that kind of slipped through the cracks, a story from last Friday. And of course, it slipped through the cracks because there's been big things happening in Washington, D.C. over the last week. The almost government shutdown that was averted at the last minute. Then this week, the drama with Kevin McCarthy, the start of the Trump trial. So occasionally, things do kind of slip through. But this is so important that even though it's almost a week old, I want to go back to it because I think it's a big deal. Last Friday, Marjorie Taylor Greene was giving a speech, I guess you would call it, to a bunch of her supporters. And she actually encouraged them, according to a report from Midas Touch, to engage in tax evasion. Here is how this exchange went down. Marjorie Taylor Greene is up there talking to people, and she says, "This is what Washington does not care about. They don't care." Talking about the, government shutdown. And somebody in the crowd said, "They'll care if we don't send our money to them." So the guy's like, "Hey, what if we just don't pay our taxes anymore?" And rather than saying like, you know what, that's probably illegal, Marjorie Taylor Greene responded by saying this. That's right. I'll say something. They're going to put this in a headline. A tax revolt would be a great thing in this country. Oh, there goes Marjorie Taylor Greene at Crazy Acres. Yeah, Crazy Acres is probably a good place for you. But you can't encourage your supporters to engage in tax fraud. And that appears, based on your statement there, that's kind of what you suggested. Now, you didn't outright tell them to do it, but you just said, a tax revolt would be a great thing. But it probably wouldn't be a great thing for the people who take your advice, or at least construe it to believe that it is advice, and then they don't pay their taxes, and then they go to jail for 5 years, right? That seems like an exceptionally irresponsible thing to suggest to your supporters. You said it would be a great thing. Again, you didn't tell them to do it. You just said it'd be great if it happened. So you may avoid any kind of liability based on the way you phrased it. But if anybody in that audience or anybody out there in America decides to not pay their taxes because of what Marjorie Taylor Greene said, they're not going to escape liability. They're going to go to jail. So here is how you should have handled that encounter, Marjorie. You should have told the guy, "Listen, hey, if you don't pay your taxes, they will put you in jail. So let's think of another idea. How can we, as people, influence what's happening in D.C.?" And then you change the topic and you make sure that the guy who yelled, "What if we don't pay our taxes?" You make sure that guy knows that, hey, you probably just got put on some kind of watch list, so shut your mouth, idiot. But instead, Marjorie Taylor Greene doubles down. She's like, "That's a great idea. Oh, and they're going to put it in the headlines. Oh, no, look at me." But that's why you say crazy crap. Like, you just admitted that, essentially. You're like, "Oh, they're going to put it in headlines, but watch me say something crazy stupid. And then I'm going to act indignant when they put it in the headlines. Like, how dare they say this?" You do it for the attention. You do it for the headlines because you, just like Matt Gaetz, just like Carrie Lake, just like all the rest of them, you fear that if you're not in the headlines every single day, then you're going to fade off into obscurity. And you might. And look, this is a crowded business, not just politics, but hell, even political media. If you're not out there coming out as soon as possible with all this crap, you fade. You fade fast. Marjorie Taylor Greene knows that. And she knows that as long as she keeps saying crazy crap every day at Crazy Acres, then by God, she's going to keep making headlines. Even if it means she's giving her constituents advice that would land them in federal prison. Hey everyone, this is Aspen. And did you know that for the low cost of $0 per day, you can subscribe to the Fair and Balanced YouTube channel? We also encourage you to like, comment, and share. But again, click that subscribe button and help Aspen not be so grumpy.